Hey guys, Hailey here, welcome back. Today I'm going to be addressing one of the most asked questions on my channel, which is, can I get in? Guys, honestly, love you all to death, but when people ask me this, I just want to rip my hair out because it's like asking me if I have a crystal ball. But I know that you're just dying of curiosity, anxiety, all of those emotions inside, because I've been there. I have a little trick that might be able to help you, so stay tuned. I'm going to give you the trick. I'm also going to tell you about my stats and how I got into UCLA, because for some reason that makes people feel better, I guess. I don't know, people like knowing what other people's GPAs and stuff are. I guess it's like a point of comparison, but I am just one individual. Here we go. Okay, here's the thing about whether or not you can get into a school. And I'm just talking generally. I'm not just talking UCLA, although UCLA is the main school that people ask me this question for. People also ask me about Berkeley, Davis, San Diego, etc. All the UCs. Once again, I don't know. It's impossible to tell. The reason being, I do not work for any of those schools, and it really just comes down to a judgment call on behalf of the person reading your application. And at the UC level, your application is read by two people, and that is how they determine whether you are a reject or an admit. Okay, so beyond that, I don't know any more about what goes on behind closed doors, okay? Total mystery to me. I'm just as in the dark about the process as you are. I do know that two people read your essays, two people read through your application, and between those two people, the decision is made. But if you're curious about how you stack up against the competition or how you are relative to the other people who have been accepted, what you can do is look up the profile of admitted students for the school that you want to go to. What is the profile of admitted students? It is a collection of documents with the numbers from the previous admitted class. So I'm going to show you UCLA's profile of admitted students. All you have to do, I'm just going to show you UCLA's because it's easiest. Berkeley has this as well. I'm sure all the other UCs have this. All you have to do is look up UCLA profile of admitted transfer students. You can put by major, that's just what pops up because I've Googled this so many times. Boom, here you go. Profile of admitted transfer students. They have this for freshmen as well, so just look it up. You can see they have all the terms dating back to fall 2002. Let's look at fall 2019 because it's the first one right here. And what do we have? We have an overview by college and school applied to. You can see the number of applicants. You can actually look by California Community College. So for example, you could go in here and find the college you went to. I think honestly, the best indication of your shot is going to be going into your college. For most of you, that's going to be the College of Letters and Sciences. So we'll click right here. And going into your major, let's just look at linguistics, for example. Applied Linguistics, because that was my major. This was last year, so this is actually the year after I applied. But there were 15 applicants to the Applied Linguistics major, and 40% of those applicants were accepted. 100% of the applicants that were accepted actually chose to go to UCLA. And you can see the GPA breakdowns right here. So this is really a useful tool in determining where you measure up to people who have previously been admitted. Of course, it's not a fail-safe. It really depends on so many factors. As I often tell you guys, it's not just GPA, and I think that is the huge misconception, that if you have a certain GPA, you're absolutely gonna be cut out, or if you have a certain GPA, you're absolutely a shoo-in. That is not true. That is not true under any circumstances for any major, okay? GPA, extracurriculars, employment, essays, your PIQs, these are things that all play a role into whether or not you were admitted. Okay, moving on. Once again, you can do that for pretty much any UC as far as I'm aware. I'm going to talk to you guys about my stats for my admission into UCLA. Once again, I applied for the fall 2018 term to UCLA, UC Berkeley, UC San Diego, UC Davis, and UC Santa Barbara. I did tag Davis. My tag was accepted. If you don't know what a tag is, watch this video. But I was accepted to all the schools that I applied to. And I was accepted to Berkeley as a spring admit. Berkeley was my first choice at the time. I ended up going with UCLA for a plethora of reasons. I also have a video on that. You can watch that if you'd like. My GPA at the time that I applied was 3.78, so it was pretty close to 3.8, which is pretty high. I did not do any extracurriculars. I was working full-time, so I couldn't do any extracurriculars. That being said, I was working full-time, so I was working, you know, a lot and going to school full-time, working full-time, going to school full-time up until the last semester before I transferred. Spring semester, I only had one night class and I was working full-time as well. What else? My major, I'm sorry I didn't say my major, I can't believe I didn't say it earlier, but I was applying to UCLA as an applied linguistics major. I applied to Berkeley as a linguistics major, Davis, San Diego, and Santa Barbara as linguistics majors. For San Diego, you do have to have like a specialization, and I think I chose like communicative sciences or something like that. I don't even remember. I had 100 units at West Valley College, which was my community college when I transferred into UCLA. The unit cap is 105, so I was up there. What else? Another question that people get a lot is like, what did you major in community college? I majored in liberal arts. I'm not gonna say it's completely unrelated to linguistics, but it doesn't have a whole lot to do with linguistics. But essays, guys, I wanna talk about this as well. Essays are so important when you're applying to UC. I think personally for me, the essays is really what sold me to all the UCs that I applied to, because that is the only chance that you have a chance to tell admissions about yourself in your own words. Otherwise, you're just numbers on a piece of paper or on a screen in our case. You're just your GPA, you're just your grades, you're just your extracurriculars. And we know that there's so much more to you than that, but without the essays, they don't know who you are, really. So I think the essays are super important. It's really important to put as much time as you can in on the essays. I can't stress this enough. I started thinking about the essays probably a year before I even applied, and then I really got down to business the summer before I applied. So I would say I applied in November 2018. I would say June 2018 is when I wrote my first initial draft of all 4 essays, and it wasn't good, honestly. Like, I'm not like some prodigy, but that is the starting point, and sometimes you kind of just need to get it all out there in order to trim down and create something that's actually good. The first draft was completely different from what I ended up with. I mean, I even changed the topics on some of them, and I think it's really important to spend time on the essays. Content-wise, make sure the topic is appropriate and actually answers the question, answers the prompt that you chose. Make sure language is appropriate, of course, no grammar and spelling. I have entire videos and honestly like an entire playlist on tips for the essay, so I'll put that right here, you can check it out. But it's just really important. Like I said, I think my essays were probably one of the main reasons. I'll never know, right? I'll never know. But I do personally, that's what made me feel confident in my application, because when it comes to a school like UCLA or Berkeley, like, you may be the best of the best at your community college, and I'm not claiming I was, because I don't believe I was. It's not like I was valedictorian or anything like that. But you may feel like the cream of the crop at your community college, but you have to realize that everyone else who's applying to UCLA and who gets into UCLA, Berkeley, etc. is the cream of the crop at their respective schools. So when you go to those schools, you're literally going to school with the best of the best. So I think if you prepare ahead of time and just really give the essays your all, edit them hundreds of times, like at that point you know that you've done all you can. I hope that answers your guys' questions about how I got into UCLA and how you can kind of gauge where you stand. Once again, it's not a prediction, it's not totally foolproof. You could be rejected or accepted either way, and I have no way of knowing that. You have no way of knowing that. The only way of knowing that is if you apply, and the worst thing they can say is no. And I'm sure for some of you that's like, whoa, that's a big no. That's true, but if you never apply, then you'll never know. So just give it a shot. They can say yes or they can say no. And the way that I like to think of it is that a rejection is just a redirection. I don't remember, someone said that on like Instagram or something, but it's true. Like, if it doesn't happen this time around, then maybe it's a sign that you need to try harder the next time, or maybe it's a sign that it's not meant for you. So just be prepared, feel calm, really try not to freak yourself out, because anxiety is not going to serve you in this process. Like, if you're super anxious about applying, like, it doesn't matter actually if you hit submit and then for the next months you're literally paralyzed by anxiety and fear, versus someone who hits submit and goes about their life. That person is going to be infinitely happier, because both of those people have no control over the outcome of the situation, right? That's just the way I look at it. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. I post videos about applying to UC, transferring to UC, and community college, and everything in between. So yeah, join the channel if you feel so inclined, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.